Hi, it's James Reddy here from the Escape Route in Whistler. It's been a great year for bindings with the Diamir Vipec, with the Beast from Dynafit. Let's look at this latest and greatest, the Diamir. So lots of great features with this binding. Like all tech system bindings, it certainly has the heel release. So you have a vertical heel release. What's most exciting about this piece is the toe to it. We have a lateral toe release, so it gives you the same sort of a safety feature that you would see in any sort of an alpine binding, but we're getting it in a tech binding, in a touring binding that's very, very lightweight. So the kind of the biggest concern for tech bindings in the past, or for many people, has been the ability to get release generated from the toe. That's what Diamir has been able to do. By changing the spring setup so that it is now a static spring instead of a pinch spring, they've been able to add this din release, which is a milestone for the tech systems. So very, very safe, which is nice to see. Diamir has always been a leader in the safety side of bindings, and now they've been able to bring that to a tech binding. It's also extremely light. This binding, all told, is 600 grams. That's with the brake and with the screws in place. Dynafit, great tech binding, probably the leader in the industry, has always been pushing the lightweight game. It's nice to see Diamir chasing them and giving us something else to look at. The performance side of this binding is really what we're really interested in. It has elasticity that's at the toe, which is a new, a different thing for any of the tech bindings that are out there. If we kind of take a look at it, when you're getting into the binding, it's more of a step down, which we'll come back to in a moment. You step down into that binding, and then the heel is just to click into it like such. What we've got, I don't know if you can see the heel spacing that's here, this is nice and tight. This is a great feature and helps us with the performance side of the binding because we are snug inside that binding. There's no more vagueness between the spacing between the pins and the heel of the boot. You move this forwards until the pillow, which is inside this binding, is touching the back of the ski or back of the boot. And then when that ski flexes, you can see a little bit of travel through here. So you've got that elasticity through the toe. So a very positive and strong hold in that heel. Really nice and tight, a tight fitting for a tech binding. It does have a bit of a positive ramp angle, so that helps us with the performance side of it. But the big thing that really comes into this is that toe release and that elasticity that is up in the front end. So easier for me to show this without the boot in place. So step down on that. If we are in the ski mode, which is what this is, I've turned the din down so you can actually see things easily. You can see how you have elasticity. That's a great thing that we haven't seen in other tech bindings. So on the elasticity and the deflection side of this toe, one really useful sort of comparison is thinking about the suspension in your car. If you run over bumps in a vehicle that doesn't have suspension, you're feeling all of it. So as we're skiing along, if you have chunks of crud and things that you hit with that front of the ski, you're going to be batted around quite a bit because there is no suspension or elasticity in some of the other systems that exist. Or not toe elasticity. We have to be careful with that because there is elasticity in all of the different tech systems that are out there, mostly generated from the heel. What this has is, as you're zooming along and you were to hit the broken up snow, crudded stuff, ice, whatever the case is, and your ski gets knocked over to the side, what's going to happen is that this toe is going to allow that ski to suck up some of that deflection. That's a really nice thing for performance side of it. It's going to make you be able to ski stronger. You're going to be able to ski a little bit faster, but you're going to be safer while you're doing all of that. So that toe elasticity is a really nice thing to see. And then obviously the other big thing, and we were talking about the safety side of it, is this din releasability of the wings. If we look at this, it's hard to generate enough force sitting here on the floor, but if you were to look at this, when someone's skiing along, if it's a hard enough impact, it overrides the elasticity and someone needs to escape the system from the toe, that sort of an action, that bang comes out and allows that wing to fold down and the person's free from the system. Once you get up, collect yourself, flick that up, step back into the binding, and away you go. One of the things, when we talk about stepping into the binding, there is a better way to think of stepping into this one is not so much the kind of dig your toe in and roll into the binding. It's think of positioning your boot using the arch of your foot So you position your boot and then just step down onto it. In doing so, you're obviously into the pins and then into that heel. You'll notice with this particular boot, what I've done is I've actually pin marked that. This Scarpa boot has it already in place. Makes it a little bit easier while you're getting used to this new tool. Right. So to finish off with the safety component of this binding, you'll see that once you're into this, if you have a vertical release, so you're out from the heel and you need to come out of the front, this is what has to happen, is you basically have to come forwards and knock this binding system down. You'll see that with this boot, it's not really happening. Diamir includes, when you get the binding, an extra clip. Many of the boots have different toe assemblies, different pin positions, and so on, so the forces generated are different depending on the boot. So while this particular boot, this Scarpa Mistrale, doesn't work with this binding setup as it is, if we look at this setup, when you come over the front with that clip in place, you'll come out of the binding. So Diamir, again, looking after many of the different boots that are in the marketplace and the different players and making sure that their binding is as safe as it can be. So tour mode with this binding is really nice. You would expect that from Diamir. They've done a great job with it. So step into that binding. You're in. Flicking this up locks us into the tour mode. So that's a toe lever that everyone with a tech system is familiar with. So that locks it up. When you are, so let's just say we're skiing first of all. So we're into ski mode. So that is in ski, as you can see. Let me turn this a little bit better lighting for you. To go to tour mode, you can flick this up, which locks the toe. Use your pole, reach down, push on that, and obviously you're in tour mode. So easy to move. That's the flat section. Once this is down and locked, this brake is not going to be in the way. It's locked, as you can see. Easy to tour, lots of room here. If there's snow building up, it's there's no real pinch points. There's nothing that's going to push you out of that ski, so it looks like it's going to be quite strong in deep snow. As you start increasing the steepness of your climb, then you're going to want to use the first heel riser, which is right there, easy to use with your pole, and then the second heel riser right here, so it's easy tour mode. If you're in undulating terrain, one of the things that I really like about this is you can stay in the ski, and with, again, simply, the BD poles are quite nice for this. You can flip that up and it locks you back into tour mode. So you're rolling undulating terrain like that, it's not a problem. When you want to start skinning back up the hill, again, there you go, you're skinning easily. So tour mode is very effective in this, very efficient. It'll allow people to move easily in the backcountry. The Diamir Vipec is available at the Escape Route in Whistler or in Squamish. You can also get them online at escaperoute.ca.